Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I am here today with a ship with me. This is actually the day after Labor Day, so it is Tuesday. These are orders that came through over the weekend. Some really great sales, some really quick sales, some of my favorite vintage pieces that I have ever found have sold, so I cannot wait to walk you through, what sold, how much I paid for them, how long they sat in my closet, how much I got for them, and really bring you into that part of my process. I hope everybody had a nice holiday weekend. If you were in the States, if you are sending your kids back to school right about now, I hope that that transition is going well. But first and foremost, if this is the first time we are meeting, welcome. I am Julia, that's my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, guys, I am running exceptionally late. Like, I'm always late, but I am like more late than usual today. I want to say it's like 3 p.m., so we need to get this stuff packed up and off to the post office, toot sweet, because they're gonna be closing soon. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let's get into the shipment. All right, first up here, now I had kind of an inkling that this would go pretty quickly. This is a fully sequined Saints jersey, and it's for number 41. Now, I'm gonna start this off by saying that, like, sports ball, I don't follow football all that much. If the Birds make it to the playoffs, we're cool. But for the most part, sports ball. So I looked this guy up, and number 41's real name is Karama. So I don't know if Karma is a nickname or a misspelling. It feels like it very well could have been a nickname. It seems too, like, intentional. So I listed as much as I knew, but I had a feeling with football season like coming up right now, I had a feeling it would go pretty quickly. Truth be told, I actually was asked to hold this aside to see if my little niece wanted it, because Karma being a Taylor Swift song, she's a hardcore Swiftie, aren't we all? And just to see if she wanted it, but I think it was a little too big for her. This would have been like down to her knees. So this one I had live for only 3 days. I had it listed for $34 and got an offer for $27.75. Very specific number, but this came through as a Mercari sale, so there was there were no seller's fees, which always great. Still don't understand how it works, but we'll take it when we can get it. With $1 cost, that brought my profit to $26.75. And I hope she wears this with pride all football season. Sports ball, am I right? Next up, this is a 2-piece bundle, and it's got one of my favorite vintage pieces ever, but I'll show you the non-vintage piece. She picked up this cute little We The Free raglan, like, baseball sleeve tee. Any kind of, like, basic t-shirt from We The Free. I've talked about it before, but I will continue to talk about it. They just sell so quickly for me, and it's funny because it doesn't work that way with regular Free People basics. And when I say regular Free People, I mean the regular Free People with, like, the metal tag with the little strip. We The Free, in particular, these kind of basics sell super quickly. The second piece she picked up, oh my God. This is maybe one of my favorite, like, non-dress, non-gown vintage pieces I have ever picked up. Look at this. First of all, the silhouette is everything. It's this beautiful, tight knit, and it's got this little gold speck to it. And I wasn't sure when I first found it what the little specks were. They looked like they might be little paint globs, but when you look really closely, you can see that it's actually like little pieces of gold thread wound around parts of the knit. It's just very special. And these pearl buttons are like, I mean, you can't find them anymore. This is the kind of thing, it had a few little condition issues. There was a little hole in the back of the neck and a little unraveling of the waistband down to the center back there, but it's one of those things that, like, they're pretty small issues. If they have any skill at all with mending, they should be able to fix it fairly easily. But again, it's just like, where are you gonna find something like this ever again? Like, this is a once in a lifetime find. And for the right person with the right, like, outfit, this is gonna be, like, beautiful. These are the kind of things that I pick up. I know always, and this doesn't work with everybody's, like, profit and turnaround, but for me, like, I know vintage is gonna take a little bit longer to sell. It always does. It's more specific, the sizing's always a little bit weird, it's a smaller buyer pool, But the thing is, these are the kind of pieces that just make my heart go aflutter. Don't get me wrong, I love finding a Farm Rio piece as much as the next person, but give me like a tagless, unmarked, cool vintage piece like this, I'll take that over anything all day, every day. So this actually popped through as a full price bundle sale, which is always exciting. I feel like this rarely happens. But the two pieces together, so I have a discount for bundles of 2 or more, and the bundle price was $55.25, and it popped through straight away. The vintage sweater I'd had for about 3 months, and then the Free People top I'd had for 1 month. Total cost of $2 at the bins, and with all of that together, that brought my profit to $42.20. And honestly, it is just like always a special day for me when I get to move one of those kind of pieces on, because it's like, it's what keeps me going. It really is. Next up here, now this is one that I've had for a while, and these kind of things always tend to take a while to sell. So before you go into buying like cocktail dresses, just know that they are almost exclusively a much slower sale than like everyday wear clothing. This is from Tadashi Shoji, who is a pretty big name designer. This probably retailed somewhere between like $400 and $800. I think he's a little bit more towards the $400 range, but still, that's a very expensive cocktail dress. This is beautiful, 3 different kinds of lace with this beautiful like chiffon ruching detail. This is one of those like incredibly flattering little bodycon, perfect little black dresses. And it was, I believe, a size 6. But either way, it is a beautiful piece, and I definitely wasn't going to leave it behind. So I'm interested to hear, do you guys pick up a lot of cocktail dresses? Do you leave them behind because they are slower sales? I mean, I can't help myself. Like, give me something pretty and well made, and I know I have limited storage space, but like, I literally cannot help myself. I have to get them. But I also go into cocktail dresses like this knowing that they might be that slower sale. For me, in particular, vintage cocktail dresses, though they do sell slower than most like normal clothing, vintage cocktail dresses do sell faster than something like this. Anyway, I had this listed for just about a year, and I had it listed for $63. And over the year, I had a lot of, likes on it. I had relisted it a few times. I think I dropped the price once. But I had it listed for $63 for just about a year. My sidekick sent an offer for $57, which was accepted. And with a $10 cost at the Salvation Army, I think I got this one at, this brought me to a profit of $37.58. Really is a beautiful little dress. A perfect little black dress, and I hope she absolutely loves it and feels gorgeous in it. Guys, I apologize if you can literally see the sweat on me. It is real hot today. Next up, now I knew that this was gonna be a lightning fast sell. I just had this in one of my more recent hauls. This is a beautiful cotton gauze dress from Rebe, R-E-B-E, by Deborah Weiss. This had I had never heard of the brand before, and I think it's a very small, independent designer, but this had all of the hallmarks of a great log and look piece. For me, it's always these kind of slightly askew, oversized pockets in the front. If you see these kind of things and the quality of the fabric is nice, pick it up, because as long as you can label it, if it's got that style and you can label it and tag it as such, it doesn't necessarily matter the brand. When I looked this designer up, I found some other pieces that she had that were, they retailed in the $250 range. So she was a small designer. I don't think she's designing clothing anymore, but she was high-end for sure. And I will say, I listed this and immediately had a lot of interest in it. Just immediately had a lot of tags. I don't know if it's because the brand is known or if I, keyworded it really well. I used those keywords like log and look, art to wear, artsy, art teacher. I always use art teacher. That is generally, I know I've talked about this before, but I use the bar when it comes to something that is kind of an unusual artsy piece. I'm like, would my elementary school art teacher have worn it? My elementary school art teacher was the coolest lady in the whole world. I still think about her all the time. Let me know if you had a similarly amazing art teacher as a kid, because she just broadened my horizons in a big way. So anyway, I had this listed for only 2 days. When I say that this sold really quick, and again, I wish I could tell you it was because the designer was known or of the keywords. I think it's a little bit of both. So in just 2 days, I had this listed for $58 and got an offer for $45, which I gladly accepted. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $38.95. Oh, I loved this dress. I will pick up, and this is the kind of thing, like, again, if it's 100% cotton, if it's linen, if it's that really, like, if it's a high quality textile and it has those kind of log and look features to it, comfortably pay up. For something like this, if the quality is there, easily pay up for it. I've sold multiple things in that vein that don't have tags for that similar kind of 35 to 45, sometimes up depending on the style, price point. So that's a safe place to make your bets. Next up here, now this is a little piece. This is a brand that I used to do really well with, and this is like the absolute lightest weight cotton. This is from a brand called Bella Doll. I don't know if it's a designer named Bella Doll or if it is a company named Bella Doll, but pretty expensive stuff, really high quality basics. Pretty dang expensive. These probably retailed in the $150 range, but the resale on them has come down considerably. So I always like to say there's an opportunity there, right? Because maybe it's not good for resale, but if you are shopping for yourself, because I know a lot of us are, shoppers as well as sellers, there's a lot of good Bella Doll pieces up there that you can get really inexpensively. So just a brand to have on your radar, not necessarily for sourcing these days unless you're getting it at bins prices, because it's still, for me, it's still a decent profit. But if you are out searching for some great high quality basics, check out some of these Bella Doll pieces because they are beautiful. So I had this one for about 4 months, and that's about how long I've been holding on to Bella Doll pieces. And I had it listed for $32. Now I had dropped the price on that, and I got an offer for $20. I was ready to move this on. So that's about what I'm seeing sold comps at right now. So just, again, as you are outsourcing, bear that in mind if you see a Bella Doll piece. Got that offer for $20, accepted that with a $1 cost of the bins. This brought my profit to $16.44. Still a really great high quality piece, which makes me very happy. And again, at a $1 cost of the bins, that's still plenty of meat on the bone for me. But if you do not have access to a bins location, or your bins location is a little bit more expensive, or whatever the case may be, just bear that kind of average sold comp price in mind as you are outsourcing. Next up, guys, we had so many cool vintage pieces sell this weekend. So this is, have you ever seen a more 90s shirt in your life? Like in your life. For me in particular, it's this paisley. For whatever reason, this paisley, this like paisley silk, specifically in this dark purple and teal colorway, just is the 90s for me. I must have had a shirt with that print on it as a kid. Like, I don't know why that's such a visceral reaction for me, but it is. So these are the kind of things that I pick up. I always anticipate selling them on Depop, but this is from a brand called Cafe, and on the tag actually looks pretty high quality. On the tag, it says styled in Italy. It's just an interesting piece. And I used a lot of different tags for this because it is so 90s, because it is so like quintessentially 90s. I used a lot of like Saved by the Bell, Zach Morris, Halloween 90s costume. I used those kind of keywords on it. And that's something that if you are to find something like this, that is so like, it absolutely screams an era, make sure you're using, 1950s Halloween costume. Even if it's like a nice piece of like 1950s clothing. To be totally honest, if you have been out shopping for like a store-bought costume in the last couple years, like if you are selling a beautiful 1950s dress to somebody who's buying it for a Halloween costume at $100, I can guarantee you that what they are paying for like a decent, I'm not talking about the super cheap quality costumes, but if they're buying like a decent costume, they are easily spending $100. So why wouldn't they buy the real thing, right? So especially as we lead into Halloween, I'm going to be adding in those kind of keywords for anything that I have that is like of an era, or it looks like something that a famous character would have worn. So anyway, I had this listed for just 3 days at $32. And I thought that this might be a pretty quick sale. It was a really unique shirt. I have not seen a lot of stuff out in the wild like this. And I'm pretty regularly at the places where people go to buy vintage clothes, I go to the Rose Bowl, I go to Melrose Trading Post, and I just have not seen a lot of stuff like this. And I think it's because it's silk, like I just don't think it lasted. You know, people weren't big on like cedar closets and mothballs, you know, in the 90s and early 2000s. They were a little bit more, you know, devil may care with their clothing, and unfortunately we've lost quite a bit. So had this listed for $32, got an offer for $27 after 3 days. Again, this was a Mercari sale, and that brought, with a $1 cost of the bins, that brought me to a profit of $26. And I hope they love it, because it is in like really great condition. This is in very, very good vintage condition. All right, next up here, we've got another fun vintage piece. This kind of gave me like 80s grandma vibes when I found it. I picked this up at a Savers a long time ago. I think I've had this live for about a year. So it's just cute little cotton cap sleeve top, boxy cut, with these fun pastel colors. Definitely something that I leveraged, you know, grandma core, all those kind of keywords that people are looking for stuff like this. Very summer in bokeh, if you will. Again, I do love finding vintage stuff. I know that that's not something that everybody does, but I really do have fun with it. And it's something that I do also list on my Etsy store. My Etsy store is mostly like home goods, and that's something that I do with my mom. But when I find vintage pieces, I do also list them over there, and I do sell quite a bit of my vintage pieces on Etsy. And if you have an existing Etsy store, or if you are already cross-listing on a couple of different platforms, like if you're already on eBay and Depop and Mercari and so on and so forth, like why not also have an Etsy shop? Now, easy for me to say because I've been doing vintage on Etsy for like 11 years at this point, but you know, you don't get started unless you get started. So if you're already cross-listing, if you're using a service like a Vendoo, why not? Why not? Just get it as many places as possible. People are on Etsy looking for vintage stuff specifically, like including me. If I were to be looking for vintage clothing, it's probably the first place I would look before eBay, before Depop, before Poshmark, etc. So anyway, I had this listed for $32 for just over a year, and it popped through as a full price sale, so you never know. With a $5 cost at the Savers, this brought my profit to $24.44. I hope she loves it. That is just a fun, funky little shirt. Next up, now this was an interesting one. This is a little nightgown from UGG Australia. It's that really soft tencel knit. And the gal who bought this was putting this in and out of her bundle a lot. Like, I think she was just kind of really in that consideration cycle for a long time. These are pretty expensive. I want to say that they retail for like $48 or $50. UGG is obviously a high quality brand. This feels delicious. But she and I went back and forth. She kind of came in with a very low ball offer. I'm trying to like counter back to more lowball offers, because you never know, like, you know, people could either just, you know, not have the money, or that's just how they haggle. So, you know, I countered back, and we went back and forth a few times, and we landed on 14. I had this one listed for 25, but I just kind of had the sense that she really, really wanted it, and that's still plenty of meat on the bone for me. Again, I got this at the bins. So I'm pleased that it's going to somebody who, you know, really thought about it and really loves it, because it is beautiful quality. It feels very similar to my beloved Eberjey pajamas. Again, not sponsored, but Eberjey, if anybody that works at Eberjey is out there, I'm your ~1 fan, and I would love to be sponsored by you. I'm just gonna put that out into the universe, right? Like, that's how that works. Anyway, so I had this listed for $25. We went back and forth on bids, and we landed on $14, and I had this listed for 2 months, and with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought me to a profit of $10.05. And she is going to be sleeping in a little bit of luxury now. Next up, this was such a pretty find, and to me, this is so Free People. This is another one of those tops that I just had immediate interest in. So it's as light as a feather, crinkle crepe, lace trim. So this is like separated. This isn't like one solitary ruffle. Really pretty, loose, flowy, classic Free People tank. This is one of those things from Free People, and you know, I'm getting more and more selective with what I do pick up from Free People, but stuff like this is kind of a no-brainer, because it is so, like, it's special. I don't pick up basics from Free People main line anymore. I only pick those up from We The Free. I only pick up things in really great condition because it is a little bit saturated, and a lot of the things are quite saturated out there. But this is exactly the kind of thing that I will pick up. It's delicate, it's in great condition, and like those two things in combination is rare, right? Like if it's delicate and in great condition, you can be pretty sure that like most of the other ones out there are not going to be in great condition, because a lot of people will put something like this right into the dryer, and I can't even think about that. Cannot even think about somebody putting something this delicate in the dryer, but people do. You know, there are kids in college that were not taught how to do laundry, so that kind of stuff happens. These kind of things get destroyed pretty frequently. That's why I always love, you know, we talk about vintage things. I love finding like vintage, delicate nightgowns that are in great condition, because you're like, oh my God, how did it last 50, 60, 70 years without somebody messing up and putting it in the dryer and destroying it? Anyway, so I had this guy listed for just 1 month, tons of likes on it, tons of interest on it. And I had it listed for $28, and it popped through as a full price sale, which gotta love that. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $21.40. I hope she absolutely loves that. That is just so cute. So just classic Free People. Next up, this is a pair of Abercrombie & Fitch jeans. Now, A&F jeans are fantastic quality these days. Like it's some of the best quality denim that I see in like mall stores. I am like, if anybody knows me, you know that I am a Madewell jeans girl. I will say that I think that the denim at Abercrombie & Fitch is better than the quality at Madewell. And that's a bold statement for me. However, I personally like the cuts of Madewell better, but that is a very personal thing. The style of these is the 90s straight ultra high rise, size 27, size 4, and they are distressed on the front. This style is kind of on the edge of what people are looking like. People are looking more for like the baggy style jeans from A&F, but either way, this was a bins find for me, so plenty of meat on the bone, still plenty of people looking for this style of jean. They really are quite nice. And you know, again, don't go paying $10, $15 for a pair like this if you're planning to resell. Of course, if you find them in your size, like do that all day. But in general, like the more modern the style and the larger the size, the better the sales price will be. Again, this is about a size 4. So a little bit more of a limited buyer pool there. So I had these for just about 2 months, and I had them listed for $35. Got an offer that I want to say they retail for about 100, so I'm seeing sold comps anywhere between like 20 and 40 depending on the style, up to 50 for like the most in demand. Abercrombie jeans are kind of notorious for their most popular styles selling out, so if you end up finding one of those styles that is sold out online, you can command pretty close to retail on it, but in general you want to bank between that $20 and $40 price point. So I had these listed for $35, got an offer for $26 after 2 months, and with a $1 cost of the bins, that brought my profit to $19.80. A great pair, really, like, I'm telling you, if you have not tried Abercrombie & Fitch jeans since the early 2000s, which was very much me, like, give them a try. I mean, the fit might not be right for you, and that's fine, but like, if the fit is right for you, really, the quality is top notch. Next up here, we've got this beautiful Tahari cashmere sweater. I will pick up pretty much any cashmere from any brand in good shape because it's cashmere. So this is just a really unusual color. It was a size medium. Tahari is a good brand. I wouldn't call it a bolo brand by any stretch of the imagination. Like, in fact, if you pick up Tahari regularly, if Tahari is one of the brands that you do pick up regularly, let me know what you pick up and kind of about what you get for it, because I know people do well with it. I haven't figured out the secret sauce with it, but I do know that when I find a great quality cashmere, I'm gonna grab that. We are also getting right into cashmere season, and again, like, I'm saying this as I'm literally dripping sweat right here. I apologize if I'm literally shining from the lights on me because it is quite warm in this room. I'm doing my best, and like holding cashmere, one of the things, like, if you ever want to test the warmth of like cashmere versus acrylic, literally just hold it in your hands. Just like let a piece of cashmere sit in your hands. You will feel the warmth on your palms immediately. Touching this made me almost overheat. Cashmere is so warm for the weight of it. It's why it's one of those like just really elite yarns because it can be very, very thin and lightweight, but provide like heavy wool level warmth while also being much, much, much softer on your skin. I mean, if you have the world's most sensitive skin like me, it will still make you itch, but way less than like a nice worsted wool will. So anyway, I had this listed for just 2 weeks at $36, and I got an offer for $27, which I gladly accepted. Again, something like this, I will probably, like cashmere for the most part, lower end brands of cashmere, I'll see generally between like 25 and 35, and then any kind of like real, you know, theory or the higher end brands, I'm gonna start generally at like 35 and up. So anyway, I had this listed at 36, got an offer for 27 after 2 weeks with a $1 cost at the bins. This brought my profit to $19.18. And I hope she loves it. That is a very beautiful sweater. It's very nice quality cashmere and such an unusual color. So love that. Next up here, we've got this pretty linen shirt from Cut Loose. I love Cut Loose. Now, Cut Loose is one of those brands that isn't always gonna like bring in the big bucks, but it is very high quality, often linen, but high quality like natural fabric pieces. And they're based out of San Francisco. I believe that they are dyed, cut, and sewn in San Francisco. And it's one of those brands that I don't find all that often, but I will snap it up every time I do. This is not necessarily gonna sell for like $60, although I have had, I think 2 pieces sell over 50 from Cut Loose. Not much more significant than this one, but I'll never anticipate that. You just really have to kind of do your research with it. But I do know that it's gonna be a reliable seller and it's gonna fetch me a decent price. And I know that it's gorgeous quality. That, you know, always is part of what I am looking for. I do not like to sell something that is of poor quality. I don't want to encourage that kind of manufacturing. So this guy I've had for about 3 months. This is probably the Cut Loose piece that I've had that has sat the longest. It's the most kind of specific design I've had. The other pieces I've had a little bit more of like a log and look feel to them. But either way, I had this listed for $33 for 3 months, got an offer for $25, and with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $19 even. It's such a perfect little linen piece. Next up, we all know that I love my We the Free t-shirts, and this is just a little plain mock neck green t-shirt from We the Free. It's in pretty great condition. I want to say that this feels pretty brand new. And I will, honest to God, pick up any We the Free plain t-shirt as long as it's in good shape and the price is right. I will pick them up because I know that they will be fast sellers. And I will usually get a minimum of like $15 to $20. This is one of those ones, as soon as I listed it, I started having interest in it. I knew that it was gonna move really quick. I like this color too. I'm interested to hear, I know I talk about this a lot. If you watch my videos a lot, I talk about these We the Free pieces. Do you all have the same experience as me? Like, I don't know if it's just me. That's kind of the funny thing. Like, I could have inadvertently like tailored my audience to this kind of stuff. And that's why it does so well for me. Let us all know if you are having the same experience with We the Free pieces. And it's specifically We the Free. It's not necessarily freest, it's not intimately, it's not movement, it's specifically We the Free. So anyway, I had this listed for just 2 days at $28, and an offer popped through at $20, which I was glad to take. Could I have probably sat on this for another week and gotten full price? Most likely. But oh well, it was a quick sale and I'm happy for that. Again, 2 days with a $1 cost of the bins has brought my profit to $15 even. These things retail close to $50. So, even $20, $28, like that's a bargain. And they usually come out with new like styles of t-shirt every year. And if you find one that you love, like I understand this, like if you find the style, the cut that you like, the particular flavor of oversized that they do, you will seek that out for as long as you can find it. Next up here, okay, so this is a pair of leggings from a brand called 2XU. The number 2, the letter X, the letter U. And I picked this up the first time because the quality of the fabric felt really unique. And like at the bins, I have my hands on probably 200 pairs of leggings a day. So when you are touching something that's really nice. And when I got home, I did a little research, and it turns out the 2XU is a brand that's really big in like triathlon gear. And if you are familiar with triathlons, you'll know that it's one of the more expensive hobbies you could possibly have. Like triathlon specific bikes are expensive, the triathlon suits are expensive, you know, it is a spendy hobby. But anyway, their leggings are known for their like zoned compression, which when you're dealing with like distance running, that really matters. You know, blood return is a very important thing. If you are a runner, you are rolling your eyes because I'm probably saying this wrong. That is why these kind of zone compression pants, you'll see them with like big X's over them. They'll have like kind of tighter pieces that kind of go around calf muscles, and it's all for that muscle. It's all for like literal support and for blood return to the heart. But with that being said, when you're dealing with these pretty high tech, like purpose-built garments, that generally comes with a pretty big price tag. I want to say 2XU leggings start around $100. So you're starting at like Lululemon level prices and up. And obviously you get into like triathlon specific clothing, wetsuits and stuff like that. And that gets very, very, very spendy. So anyway, this pair I had for 7 months. I've had, I think, 3 other 2XU pieces that I found in the interim. They were larger sizes than this, and they sold really quickly, like within a couple weeks for both of them. This one took 7 months. This was a size extra small. So I had these listed at $34 and got an offer for $25. I was ready to move them on with a $1 cost of the bins. This brought my profit to $19 even. That being said, it is very much a brand that I would keep your eyes out for. 25 is probably the lowest that you're gonna see on a 2XU piece. They are, again, very expensive to find, and they're nowhere near as saturated as something like a Lululemon, right? So keep your eyes out for them. It's something that, it's funny, like when my mom came out, she actually found a pair. She didn't know the brand, you know, from Adam, but she felt the quality in them. She's like, these just feel really unusual. And those sold within, I wanna say like 3 days of me listing them for like $55. So definitely a brand to put on your list to find. In fact, like, let me know if you have ever found 2XU before, if you found it because you knew of the brand, if you found it because it felt different, it felt really high quality. Let me know like what you found, how long it took you to sell, what you got for it. I'm interested to hear how many other people have kind of found this brand. And finally here we've got a 4-piece bundle, and this gal has bought from me before. I don't know if she watches, but man, she's got some good taste. Every time she's bought from me, it's been just like very curated, and I feel like I can tell her style just by looking at the pieces that she's picked up. So this first piece here is this beautiful Citizens of Humanity cream ribbed sweater. This just felt so luxe. I did not pick this up because I saw the label. I picked this up because of how it felt. It just felt like a very, very high quality, lightweight sweater, beautiful cream in perfect condition. Really, really great, gorgeous luxe basic. Next up, she picked up this beautiful Rebecca Taylor shirt. Now, I don't pick up Rebecca Taylor as much as I used to, but this is just so like delicate and intricate. It's got this beautiful like beading and lace inset. It's so, so pretty. Now, Rebecca Taylor does not do as well as it used to in terms of resale. Now, Rebecca Taylor does not resell for nearly as much as it used to, but it remains an exceptionally expensive brand, and the pieces are still absolutely beautiful and very special. So definitely a brand to have on your radar if you are searching for these kind of special separates for yourself, because right now you can find them for a pretty great deal. And like, to put this into context in terms of like pricing, this shirt here probably ran somewhere in the vicinity of like $250 to $300. Very expensive. The next piece she picked up were these, oh, I knew that these would go quick. These gorgeous Helmut Lang brown corduroy pants. They're straight leg. They feel very like of the moment. Very much have that kind of like elevated indie look to them. They look like they could easily be from the 70s, right? Like they just have that cut to them, that patina to the corduroy. Helmut Lang is one of those brands that is super duper expensive, high-end designer in that kind of minimalist space. And these retailed probably in like the 400 or so range. I'm telling you, like the stuff she picked out is really special. And the final piece, and I like almost don't even want to show this to you because there were a lot of you that had interest in it. And it is this absolutely stunning handmade, hand knit wool sweater. This is the infamous Specially handmade by Judy sweater. This thing is absolutely flawless. And a couple months back I had sold an Irish sweater, Irish or Scottish sweater, actually to one of you, and you had commented, I couldn't even buy the wool for this sweater for what I ended up paying for it. And like, y'all aren't kidding. I've got a lot of people in my life who knit, and I had no idea how intensely expensive wool yarn is. It is like crazy expensive. And this is like high quality, dense wool with like really intricate knit work on it. It was just a really special piece. And it was one of those things that it's these kind of things that are like a moral imperative to me to get out of a bins location. I mean, just like somebody put their blood, sweat, and tears into this. And I'm super happy that I'm getting to rehome it because it is very, very special. You know, and again, it's like one of a kind. I'm telling you, like, look at the pieces she's picked. Absolutely gorgeous, chic, and I feel like they can all go together. Like, these pants can be worn with all three of these tops. So all in, this bundle was priced at $185. And I believe the bundle price, I did not write this down, of course, with my discount, was in the $150 range. And she made me an offer for $122, which I gladly accept. She's got some really special pieces that I have a vested interest in rehoming to a good place. So 3 of the 4, everything but the Rebecca Taylor, were listed and sold within 1 week. Then the Rebecca Taylor I had for I think about 3 months. And with a $4 total cost on the bins from this brought me to a profit of $93.60, which is, you know, again, a great sale and some really great pieces to a fantastic customer. I hope she loves all these pieces. She did pick some very special ones. But that is it, guys. That is the shipment for today. It is now about 4:15, so I have got to get this wrapped up and get into the car and get over to the post office so I can make sure that these things are underway today. But guys, thank you so much for hanging with me while I literally get my work done. It always means so much to me that you guys take a little bit of your like precious time in your week to hang with me while I do this. You have no idea what it means to me. Literally, I'm sticking to things. But guys, if you had fun, please consider leaving a like on this video or a comment. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. But guys, without further ado, have the most beautiful weekend. Happy hunting. I hope you find all the treasures, and I will see you in the next one.